Back at it again. This trivia week, I don't know what to say, right? This week was crazy in all aspects. We're going to discuss the market, economic indicators. The week of 427 to 52 was the month of Twitter. I mean, Twitter is now the new news outreach program. That's where they're getting their data from. Twitter. I mean, Twitter is bigger than New York Times, is bigger than CNN. Somebody sends a message on Twitter, it's over. We're going to talk about economic calendar numbers are in and what that means for the real estate market, what that means for investments. What are we seeing? Are there bull traps out there, or are the bears coming back to hunt to see the March lows that we saw earlier? We're going to talk also new real estate data from home sales. That was big. We focus in on that. Build this city. Obviously, we're in the construction development end of the business. We'll talk a little bit about that. I'm not biased. If it's going to crash, it's going to crash. So I'm not going to go, oh, it's still a chance for it to go up. I won't be that guy. I got to be honest. It is what it is. Fannie and Freddie give more details on forbearance. Yes, sir. They're saying, hey, we're not going to leave you alone. We're not going to leave you in the dust. You're going to get some help. We get the details. We thought it was just 4 months. We're going to see where it really ends up. General mortgage news. We're going to see information on loans, and we talked about the tightening and things like that. Does that make sense right now? We'll talk about that, and then possible market sentiment to end the rounds. What are my thoughts? What do we think we're handling? We're starting to develop some type of a scenario. Everyone's starting to be able to create a map on where they think they will head. Couple few terms that you probably heard on millions of channels. I watch Mr. Gammon. I watch Mr. Manarino. I watch Mr. J Bravo. Those are some of the guys I like to watch. And market sentiment for me is a lot of things. It could be deflation. It could be stagflation. It could be inflation. All those things have an impact. We'll go through that. So let's again go through it like we will look through it on a website. That's the difference between my channels and others. I'm not going to really go through and stop to show you all the different vehicles in a beautiful PowerPoint presentation. I'm going to show you how you can look for this stuff yourself right on the web in an easy format. All right, there goes Mike Maloney, Gold, Silver Bull, Hyper Bubble. I was just checking out that video. But as we speak, I want to let you know I did firm up the channel a bit, trying to get this a little bit better. I have a Build This City Twitter page now. I'll put the link. It should be below. Fake age and address, can't give all your information there. Then I have a Instagram page, Build This City 23. Look me up. Join the team. No one's there right now. Again, just starting this up. And obviously, I have the YouTube page. So let's go into the market. On Friday, what a week. We were up and down. If you look through it through the week, let's do the 5-day look and take a quick peek on where we ended up. So on the 5-day look, I mean, seriously, guys, we were up. I was making money, no offense. I was in the market. We hit a high of 24,711. Man, I was winning. I had a lot of bullish looking stocks, ETFs, and I was running. And then on Friday, Lord have mercy, what a swing from 24,711. I mean, nothing like the earlier March swings, but from 24,710, we're down to 23,735, 1,000-point drop, and the volatility is now. So that's a big play, a big move from earlier in the week. But we were up here. We didn't take out. We didn't pull out. This is going to be an in and out game now, folks. I hate to say it. So much volatility, even though it's not shown in the TVIX index. Okay. Now we jump into the economic indicators, the numbers. Where do we land? What was up for this week, first of all? So we ended up down 622 points, but then we have something that's really critical when we look at the week as far as earnings season. But still better than I expected. So let's just go through the economic indicators on Tuesday the 28th. This is on Market Watch. You can always go there and look this up. So we expected Case-Shiller Home Price Index 4.2%. Okay, prices are up. We talked about this already. The numbers were already out. They're still up 4.2%. I'm gonna jump down. Consumer confidence. Okay, consumer confidence. Previous month we were at 118.8. Obviously, with the coronavirus, 86.9 came in underneath the forecast numbers that were expected, which means we're getting scary, and we are. Everyone is. Hence why I started making these videos, to try to give folks some type of latitude or understanding of how to look up the information on your own, because that's going to be critical. Gross domestic product down 4.8. The expectation was 3.9. We're losing in so many ways. Now the big one, but I did expect this. Obviously, everybody's home. Pending home sales down 20%, 20.8%, folks. Previous month was 2.3. It was over, down 20.8%. That hurt. But the market was still up off of that. Obviously, trillions of dollars are being spent. Let's go down. Initial jobless claims 3.84 million. Expectation 3.5. Over. Come on. Why don't you under promise and then overgive, right? I mean, we need to play the under promise game with these the latitude of our forecast for our quarterly money makers. Employment cost index, I'm going to skip over that. Consumer spending down 7.5%. Expectation was only be down 6.9%. As you can see, everything's worse than expected. The Chicago PMI down 10 points, 35.4. Lord have mercy. All this is telling you clear as day something's wrong and we're in trouble. Okay, let's keep going down. Friday, we had some ISM numbers that were due. No bueno. Nothing really was released here. Haven't seen it. But I believe the ISM manufacturing index was lower. Okay, lower than expected. 36.9 previous meal. Probably. Okay, they didn't even release it. I won't talk about it. But again, big days with bad numbers. Some were not as bad as expected from a points perspective. However, it was painful, and then the pain started to gravitate when something happened. Let's get into the data. And the data now is news. So Warren Buffett was talking, right? This is recent from today. But we had two bad news indicators from two of the biggest stock market holders and billionaires in the world. Elon Musk decided to open his mouth on Twitter and have a rampage. It was a disaster. Twitter stock went down almost 10%. Jesus, have mercy. Elon, you got investors here, man. You got to think about them a little bit. So, if you wanted to play a short position there for that day, you were making it. It's going to be interesting to see people want to jump back in there with that sporadic of a leader who downplays, who made a comment. But first of all, let me tell you the comment is, I think my stock is too high. It's almost the same thing as, I think my house is too expensive. You're overpaying for it. Very heartwarming comment. However, let the market dictate where we're going. And that was a real splinter in the market. Amazon. Look at this big headline. Tells investors, you may want to take a seat, brother. You may want to take a seat. Don't invest in me. We're spending $4 billion of our profit. So we're not going to do anything but reinvest. I'm assuming the drones goes to the next levels, transportation. We're going to see a whole new coming of Amazon. They're going to get even more strong if implemented correctly. Very interesting from Jeff Bezos to make this statement in these times. Hey, all this money we made, we're not going to be just sitting pretty. We're going to reinvest, and it may cause us to lose money in the short term. So that was an interesting play from Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk, whose businesses hold a large percentage of the stock market gains in the U.S. So when they're down, usually, folks, we're going to be down, and they were down with all the bad news talk, okay? Mortgage rates, let's fall under. So we had a debt topic, just discussing the news and the economic calendar numbers. Let's jump into the new real estate data for home sales. Our next section, we go into here and we figure out, okay, where is the housing market going? And we just saw the numbers, 20.8% down to 88.2 in March. Year over year, contract signings declined 16.3%. Level of contract activity equivalent to 2001. Not a good time, guys. Not a good time. However, we know what it is. It's not like an unknown. We have layoffs, 30 million unemployed. We have people not able to go out. We have fear of losing your job. So there's a lot of fear out there. Obviously, housing is the last thing on the mind. However, for some, I think it should be the first thing in mind. If you get the shelter right, there's a lot of other things that can go right after that. So that's the only thing I would say in caveat. I know I'm in that industry, but we got to take a peek at the users themselves and what the need is. Housing is probably one of the most important needs and probably the most expensive needs you'll have in your lifetime. Okay, let's jump over back to the business. Fannie and Freddie. Okay, we're going to jump around a little bit. I want to get into some numbers real quick, and I want to talk about inflation. Well, that's a data point. Let's go into Fannie and Freddie and what they're saying about the forbearance. Housing Wire hooked me up how coronavirus is impacting the market, and now, with the news that I've seen from Forbearance, what I do know is from now on, Fannie and Freddie, which now no longer have to pay the governmente, they're saying, hey, we're relieving you of payments, stack up the money, get your vote bigger so you can support everybody that has a loan. And they're saying after the 4 months is up for the forbearance period of relief, they're going to step in and handle the rest of the damages for an undisclosed amount of time, which could mean forever, infinite amount of time. So again, more backing to the housing market. I don't know what this does, but how do you see foreclosures for anyone that's under the Fannie Freddie Mac umbrella from a service provider perspective? They're going to be backing this thing up all the way through. It's awesome, but it's also maybe a painful landing for us in the future, because that means we may not see price go down. We may see it go up for housing prices as well as rents with the coverage that's happening with Fannie and Freddie. So big move by this guy's housing market has the details on it, but very interesting that the federal government implemented the moratorium for foreclosures, and then mortgage servicers were offered a forbearance, right, for reduced payments or help with payments with a 4-month lead time, as well as Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac now stepping in and saying, hey, we'll cover the rest. If you can't cover it, we'll make it happen. So very interesting. Now big apartment complexes and dual unit, 2-unit, quadplex type people, duplex, quadplex, they're going to have some backup if they can cover 4 months of their rent. All right, now let's jump off to the next topic. Again, that says a lot to the housing market. We just discussed that. General mortgage news. We talked about the Titan. There was a couple banks. Chase was one. Bank of America another. Hey, man, you're not just going to buy this house for nothing, right? You think you're going to buy this house and then sit in it because we can't kick you out? That's not going to be the case. And they have come in, and here goes the details on that forbearance. They have now stated that 700 credit score and 20% down is going to be the mandatory moratorium. However, there are small local bank offices that are offering something a little bit different. They're starting to loosen the standards. So it is an interesting rigmarole out there. It's so nuts, no one can predict it. Big banks possibly tightening up, and the little guys saying, you know what, we're going to go all for broke because of this Fannie Freddie package, right? You're going to cover us if we can cover 4 months. 0% interest almost on a loan. This is going to be an extended time. We may have kicked the can down the road, but for the short term, it looks like I am bullish on the market with everything that's in play, as long as Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos don't continue to talk on Twitter and giving their news rants. All right, and there may be, I'm being conspiracy theorist, there may be some type of play from a presidential position here. I don't know who's running for what, but I know Bezos and Mr. Musk are kind of on the Democratic side, or I don't know, call them independent. They don't necessarily like Trump. So very interesting moves that they were doing last week, as we possibly saw the coming of a new bull market and a V-shaped recovery. Okay. More news. So economic data. Again, Housing Wire is one of my favorite websites. It has a lot of data here. We talked about general mortgage news and the Titan between Bank of America and Chase, but how some of the little guys are saying, doing the opposite. They're saying they're going to give you some money. Now market sentiment. We look at the news here, 44% of renters say they will struggle to pay their rent for May. Now, there's a caveat. There's a people that are really going to struggle, and there are people that are going to take advantage. And there's a lot of people that hate government that will take advantage of the situation who may not need the money. I'm going to make an honest opinion for me. I took a drive today in the Tampa area. I tell you what, it didn't feel dead to me. It felt like we're going to head for a V-shaped recovery. A lot of people are still optimistic. We have a lot of workers in the service industry, but I did not feel the pain when I drove around. Again, it's still early on, and we may not see this pain for another 6 to 9 months because of all the programs that are in place and the unemployment, veteran benefits. You get your, I think Florida's a maximum of 275 plus 400 Maybe some other states have a 475 plus 400. I mean, you're talking 875 or 900 times 4, 3,600 per month, possibly 36,000 to 40,000 a year just to sit home. So interesting that there's a lot of negativity going on in the market when I feel this free money is going to really catapult a lot of free money into sales for a lot of businesses if they can get up and running. Now, data-wise, inflation. I started to look at these numbers. Market sentiment. Where do you think we go? All right, inflation went down heavily. There's nothing. You can't inflate if no one can go out. So it was just knocked out the park from the previous month. And now you can see why the government has so much latitude to spend. They're trying to bring this thing back up to 2.3, 2.5 level, but they're not going to be able to. It's going to be a difficult task, even with all the money that's being spent. I think that's their ultimate goal. Okay? Inflation is dead and technology killed it. It was a great article that I started reading up on. A lot of commentators. Real Vision is another guy, another show that I look at. I talked about Mike Maloney. I think we are, the more that this technology increases, and again, really subsidizing a lot of the automation in these factories the ones that we have left, even in China, we're in for a bigger disaster than what we see right now due to unemployment. I think there could be a crime wave. There's also going to be a big rental pickup, but you got to be careful what you're doing to the current builds that you have. You don't want to price yourself out if there's a deflationary impact coming, especially with the technology bug, because what technology does is make things more easy, which means somebody loses a job, and that's just the way it is. So interesting article. I'm going to stick in the link in the tabs, older one, I think from 2019, he updated it, and it talks about how technology is deflationary, which means we're going to have a lot of trouble in the future. So great data points this week to give us some direction. But again, another big number that I look at from a building perspective, look at the building cost. 600 was the numbers back in 18. Look at the fluctuation. It was reached a peak for this year in early March. And then boom, 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 April, good night, how are you? Welcome to the game. It dies off. So interesting moves there on the building costs, which is advantageous to construction workers or contractors if they can get the job. So this is exciting times, even though it's scary and there's a lot of losses. My condolences, but there's something to look forward to. Ion housing, private residential spending rises in March. All right. Residential construction spending stood at a seasonally adjusted annual rate of $550 billion, up from 2.3% after decreasing 4.8% in February. So interesting move there. Like some countries, whoever got turned back on, the light went boom, and then they're off to running back to the same old. All right. Absorption rate in apartment buildings, right? That tells us a number. Where's that at? When you look at the absorption rate, steady as she goes, nothing too crazy. You can see a slight increase. Is that going to go up? Obviously, if you have foreclosures, people didn't plan correctly, they're going to be out of the running. Definitely out of the running to be able to take advantage of this economic disaster as well as paying their rent. Personal income size 2%. That's true. You expect that. We talked about the jobless claims at $30 million. Okay. And then we have builders' confidence in the 55 plus market, where Florida is a big mainstay for that. That's a goner. I mean, that's truly is a goner when you look at the 55 plus house pricing drops. They usually have an association on those homes. Sometimes they let in somebody who's under 55 plus, maybe 2 or 3 members, but the rest of them have to be over that number, and it is a painful ordeal. Thinking about those situations, if those guys get kicked out of their homes or have any foreclosures, that's a scary part of this market. Will they be able to cover their money that they've saved for their whole lives for retirement? That's what hurts my heart. All right, share buyers expecting housing availability rises to highest first quarter. So everyone's waiting on those foreclosures. Everyone's hunting. They're looking for it. We talked about the 20.8 drop. Okay, we got it. All right. Home ownership rate is up. Again, people starting to say we need an asset. A lot of good news here on ionhousing.com. Another website that I truly take to heart. as I don't have the bandwidth, and the team members we have don't have the bandwidth right now to kind of post 60 articles a day. But there's a lot of information out there that could be helpful for those looking to invest. So we kind of ran down everything. You're seeing some of the mortgage outputs for the week for profit. Obviously, there's a little bit of an uptrend here. Some people are buying a house just because they need an asset, even if it's higher. They're saying, no way you're going to stay that low with all these number of problems that we have in the economy. So tough market to be in, but if you're smart and you're steady, you're patient, there's things that can happen. Off work, I want to sign off. There goes your economic data in a nutshell. Try to give it to you in under 20 minutes. Let me know your thoughts below. Where are we headed? To the top for a bull, or the bears coming and running? Off work. Excuse me. Build this city. I'm gone. Thank you.